Hello everyone, and welcome back to Amorous Episode 10. My name is Captain Sheldon, and I will be your host for today's episode. I am really excited. I'm having a great day, and this will actually be a lot of recording that I'll be doing in one day, which I'm actually kind of happy about because I haven't been able to record as much as I want to. I really enjoy doing these things, but let's get back into it. Last time that we were here, we had our first date with Jax, the lizard bartender from the club, and now we're going to have our second date with him. So let's see. And hey, what's up, Jax? Let's give him a call. After we parted ways, I walked back to my place. Jax was definitely an interesting guy, but I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more going on than that I was aware of. I must have been lost in my thoughts when I came in the door because Kobe almost immediately pounced on me. I was wondering when you were getting back. You took so long. I had to assume it was more than coffee, so tell me everything. Oh my god, he's so forward. For a small guy, Kobe always managed to catch me off guard. I settled him down and we sat at the table. It was just a date, okay? I admitted it was a date. Are you happy now? Kobe beamed. He always knew when I was hiding something, even when I didn't. So, Dish, tell me, what did you two lovebirds do? We're not in love. I could feel my face heating up as Kobe continued to grin like a Cheshire cat. I'd better tell him something, or he'll never leave me alone. Let's tell him that we shared a muffin. We shared a muffin and had some coffee. It wasn't anything particularly thrilling or romantic. You wouldn't be blushing like that if it was just a muffin. I'm not going to let you live vicariously through me, Kobe. Besides, don't you get enough dates yourself? But it's you. I haven't seen you go out and have fun in forever. I want to hear about it because I'm your bro. I like knowing you're happy. He gave me the puppy dog eyes and I just melted. Kobe was always there for me when I wanted to hang out or just needed to talk. It wasn't fair to hold back. Alright. We had coffee, we went to a movie, and we kissed. Nothing with tongue or anything, just a peck. Actually, that did not happen. We gave him a hug. So, I guess maybe we were supposed to kiss. So, what's he like? I know lots of people at the bar really like him. He's always so enthusiastic and flirty, and so cute. I'd be jealous. He was different at the start, much quieter and more reserved. I wondered if I did something wrong at first. Nah, he's probably just like you and doesn't get out much. I mean, he's at the bar almost every night until 3. Not that I stay up that late, of course. Of course, I was hoping it was just first date jitters. I know I was feeling a little anxious. Still do, even afterwards. It was like I met a different person. Well, that just means you need to see him again so you can get to know him better. You are going to see him again, right? Yeah, we set a date. Yeah, we talked for a while after the movie, and I suggested dinner over at the place around the corner. I've been wanting to try it for a while now. Ooh, romantic. Candlelit dinner, maybe some wine. He immediately broke down into giggles. I felt my cheeks flush and glowered at him until he stopped. Sorry, I'm just really happy for you. It's so cute thinking about you two together. You're not helping me feel any less awkward about this, you know? Kobe continued to barrage me with questions about my first date until I managed to distract him with his own romantic life. As he went on and on about his conquests, I found myself half listening. Part of me kept thinking back to Jax, the kiss at the theater, and the chat at the coffee shop before it. I might be a little rusty at dating, but there's something Jax isn't telling me. Even more revealing, I wanted to know what it was. Seeing the look on his face, watching him brighten a shade or two, I couldn't stop thinking about it all. I hadn't felt this way about someone in a long time. Hello? I was paying attention. No, you weren't. You were a million miles away, likely with someone else. He was right, of course. Seems like Jax made more of an impression than I thought. Still, it wasn't any good to dwell on it. I couldn't compress my entire dating life into a single day. Let's just do something else. I need to distract myself for a while. Ooh, what if we... Fortunately, Kobe was more than willing to distract me, as were a number of chores I'd been neglecting. Between getting my backside whipped at video games, cleaning up our messes, and grabbing something for dinner, it was almost after 10 and I was too tired to worry. Kobe said some quick goodbyes as he ducked out the door in his club gear, and I flopped into bed. Alright. It was nearly midnight when my phone started ringing. I'd forgotten to silence it before passing out and struggled to grab it from the nightstand. Blinking myself awake, I swiped to answer and held the phone to my ear. Hello? I couldn't hear anything on the other end for a moment, save for a roaring crowd and at least a dozen background conversations. It sounded like someone was trying to talk to me, but I could only hear snippets about the din. Finally, I heard some sounds of movement and a door opening. The background noise grew muffled and I could finally make out the voice. Can you hear me now? Jax, why are you calling in the middle of the night? Is something wrong? There was a pause, longer than really felt comfortable. At first, I thought the connection had dropped, but I soon heard a resigned sigh from the other end. One of the bartenders got sick and can't work for the rest of the week. I didn't want to tell you like this, but I didn't have a chance to step away until now. I don't get a real meal break until later. My heart sank a little. Was this real, or was he just backing off again? I found myself getting a little angry at him, until I realized he wouldn't be calling me in the middle of the night just to keep me at arm's length. I'm sorry, I really am. I was looking forward to it. It's been forever since I last had a nice sit-down meal. I usually have to make do with whatever I can reheat in the kitchen from last night. Let's say, what's on the menu? What's on the menu tonight, then? Tonight I have a lovely boxed mac and cheese, aged for 3 weeks on the shelf. It's got a robust neon flavor with hints of cardboard and memories of being in college. We both chuckled at Jax's flowery description for a moment before settling back into an awkward silence. Maybe I was thinking out loud, but when he said, "This isn't an excuse," it caught me off guard. It was my concern, but to address it so directly, I spluttered into the phone, suggesting that I hadn't even considered it. Still, he seemed to have a pretty clear read on me. I know I came off a little distant yesterday, but I really had fun. I wanted to see what was in store for our next date. Next date? He was actually considering that? My cheeks flushed a little as a grin spread across my lips. So, we are actually dating? It wasn't just a casual muffin? Well, yeah, I don't split muffins with every cute person who walks in the door and takes me out for coffee. I'd never keep my girlish figure if that was the case. My sense of ease was interrupted by the sounds of noise spilling into the background and someone shouting over the din. I know. I'm finishing up now. I'm sorry, Sheldon. I gotta run. Jack scrambled to end the call and left me sitting upright in bed, staring at my phone. All the anxiety I'd been having from before seemed so silly now. He wanted to see me again. He even said he did. Who knows when we might have the chance, though. Okay. Well, I know that feeling too. Starting to get to know someone and then work getting in the way of everything that you had planned. I thought I'd try to call him back. Maybe he could steal away a moment or two and we could have lunch or something tomorrow. He isn't picking up. Maybe he can't hear his phone, or maybe he's busy. I suppose I could always drop by the club. I feel like dropping by the club is too needy. Yeah. And that's gonna give him too much of a, thing about, yeah, let's leave a message. Hey Jax, it's Sheldon. I was hoping to get a hold of you and see if you might be free for lunch tomorrow. Sure, it's not a nice dinner, but we could still get a chance to meet up. Anyway, call me back when you get a chance. Of course, now that I was awake, all I could do was stare at the clock on my phone. So much for a good night's sleep, I suppose. Fortunately, it didn't take long before Jax called back. Hey, sorry I had to go. Busy night. I just stole away a few seconds here to get back to you. So, did you get my message? I was thinking we could just do a lunch thing tomorrow. Not quite as good as a romantic date, but we could chat a bit more. I'd love to, but I'm here until 5 and then back again at 2 the next day. Our missing person was an opening shift. If I didn't know better, I'd assume you were actively avoiding me. You worry too much. Why not drop by the club? I'm getting a break in a little while. It's not dinner at a fancy restaurant, but I can try to dig up another box of mac and cheese. I do like neon flavor. It's got a soup con of cheapness and desperation that makes for a good work lunch. I love to see you again, even if it's just for half an hour. I'm pretty sure they can keep the girls at bay for at least that long. He'd love to see me again. I couldn't help but grin. Jax liked me at least as much as I liked him, and maybe more. It's a date. Great. See you when you get here. Just come up to the bar and ask for me. I'll tear myself away from customers long enough to meet up with you. Jax hurriedly hung up and I scrambled out of bed to throw on some clothes. If I wanted to make it by his break, I'd have to rush out the door. With traffic being almost non-existent, it was easy enough to get to the club in record time. After wrestling with the car to slip into the only space remaining, I hoofed it to the front door and made my way inside. The place was packed from wall to wall and I could barely hear anyone over the music in the crowd. Seemed the sorority girls Jax had mentioned invited a few more friends over throughout the night. Hey girls, it's fresh meat, and not a bad looking one at that. Woo! Take off your top. I sputtered in place as the girl bounced in front of me, sloshing her drink around. It was pretty clear from her expression that it wasn't her first. Come on, cut loose, woo, we're all here to party. You should come join us. I just know Monique would be into you. I tried to bow out, shouting over the noise as she began to tug on my arm and yanked me in the direction of their booth. Desperately looked around for Jax or anyone else I recognized as she pulled me to a table scattered with shot glasses. Shots, 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 woo! As I was about to down one just to get them to let go, one of the other bartenders from last night tapped me on the shoulder. He gave me a wink and nudged me back as he laid out a whole new array of beverages for the enthusiastic crowd. They seemed to forget about me for the moment and snagged each of their alcoholic fruit salads off the tray. Rue, okay. Sorry about that. They've been getting a little rowdy. Follow me. The two of us made our way through the club and back to the main bar. He lifted the small separator and ushered me past it and through the swinging kitchen door. While it was a bit darker back here, it was also much quieter. There, now I don't have to shout. You're Sheldon, right? Jax has been complaining about having to work tomorrow since the start of his shift. He told us you might be dropping by. Seems like he's pretty fond of you. He gave me a bit of an elbow nudge as I stammered back to him. I didn't expect his co-workers to be so aware of his dating life. I just tried to smile and not feel too awkward about someone knowing more about me than I did about them. Ah, the good old, oh, I had a great time with this guy last night, or yesterday, oh my god, you guys have to know about it, and then they finally meet them, and it's like, oh, you must be that guy, I know all about you, and it's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, well, we hit it off pretty well. Good to see him dating again. Been trying to bury himself in work for so long. Heck, it's just his luck that the one day he asks off this week is when Mitch gets sick. He led me back to an empty prep table in the back of the kitchen. A couple of abused bar stools served as chairs. He motioned to one and smiled. I'll let him know you're back here. After I got settled, he stepped back out into the club. My head was spinning. In 5 minutes, I'd learned more about Jax's past than I had over our whole first date. Still, his initial reaction to me outside the bar made a little more sense. Though I still don't know what had actually happened. I felt a little awkward in the relative quiet. Fortunately, I didn't have to wait too long. Jax came through the door out into the club and waved. He paused at an industrial microwave and punched a couple of buttons. A few moments and a sharp ding later, he produced 2 small bowls of steaming mac and cheese, setting one down for me and one for himself. It had clearly been a long night for Jax, and his chipper attitude was waning, and his stomach was audibly rumbling. It made me wonder if he'd had a chance to grab something to eat since this morning. I hate to be blunt, but I'm starving. Do you mind if we just jump in? Oh, you can see a lot more of this uniform of his. That's quite revealing. Not at all. I nibbled at my food while Jax wolfed his down. I asked him about his day and how he was doing now, and the two of us exchanged pleasantries as we ate. I still couldn't put what the other bartender had said out of my head, nor the awkwardness of him knowing my name without knowing his. Jax must have sensed it as he set down his food and smiled. Much better. Sorry, but if I don't get something to eat, I tend to collapse around this point. I know it's not much, but I'm glad to actually get to share a meal with someone instead of eating alone. It can get depressing. Doesn't matter if it was pickles and ice cream. I'm here for the company first and food second. You sure know how to make a guy feel good about offering his date boxed mac and cheese. Sitting across the table, my mind wandered back to what the other bartender had said. It seemed clear that Jax was at least interested in me, so why was he so quiet when we first met? I didn't want to pry, but I had to know. Jax, I needed to ask you something. It's been bothering me for a while now. What's that? Yesterday you were a different person at the start. Quiet, reserved, unsure. Here, though, you're a showman. Your coworker mentioned that you hadn't been dating in a while. This might... What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to save right here. And hopefully this feels like one of those moments that might be relationship ending. So we're going to be direct. What happened? It's not important. Well, it is important, but it's not a big deal. I want to make sure I'm not getting the wrong signals. I like you, Jax. It's a little painful still. Hard to talk about even with my friends. I figured, but I like the you I got to know when we first met. The you that I was with after the movie. I don't want him to vanish on me. You're only the second guy I've dated. Most of the time I've been with women. It's always been casual and we've been friends afterwards, but the first guy I was with I met back in college. He shifted a little in his seat, his scales fading to a duller hue. It was clear he was getting a little uncomfortable. He was a driven guy, very ambitious. He got straight A's in all his classes, involved in nearly every activity on campus, and he wound up tutoring me in math. We got to know each other, and then one night he leans over and kisses me full on the lips. He blushed as he looked down towards the table. Shutting his eyes for a moment, he took a slow breath and continued. It wasn't really an, aha, I'm gay moment. I know I like both, but it was intoxicating. It was like being new to the whole thing again. We were tight throughout our last 2 years of school. He'd always take me out to fancy places, buy me stuff. It was fun in a sort of materialistic way. We all like it when someone takes care of us. I know there are days I look at my bills and wish I had a sugar daddy. I'd been working odd jobs to help pay tuition and other costs, mostly waiting jobs at restaurants, since tips could give me the extra cash I needed for my day-to-day stuff. After a while, I found I really liked it, the showmanship, performing in front of an audience. You do look like you love it. I've never seen anyone so enthusiastic about making drinks and getting to know people. He beamed at me from across the table, his hand sliding across it towards mine. He stopped short and looked back down at his plate, his smile vanishing. He didn't, though. Said it was a waste of time, that I'd never make any money that way or go anywhere important. That's when the fight started. I broke it off and we went our separate ways. I went back to girls and last I heard, he was off in New York somewhere, with a law firm or an investment banker or something. I don't get it. What does that have to do with dating guys? He shrugged a little, lowering his gaze to the table. He was my first, and I guess I just assumed most guys were going to be like him. Working in a bar, I saw how most guys approached women and figured that was the norm, so I just dove into what I loved. I get to flirt here and there, maybe have a dinner with an attractive woman or guy, and not get judged for doing what I want to with my life. I guess you're just the first guy to come along since then, so I'm kind of learning more that how he used to be isn't exactly how every guy is. Jax, I'm not going to judge you. It's part of the reason I asked you out. In a room full of people trying to be seen, you stood out the most to me. You sweet talker, you. I'm not your ex. I don't think that's really a gender issue. I'm certainly not someone who only wants to get into your skimpy and very flattering briefs. I called you because I wanted to get to know you, beyond your abilities to mix drinks and flirt. Believe me, I know. For one thing, he'd never visit me at work. For another, he'd never instigate anything he didn't already want to do. We sat and chatted for a short while, talking about our pasts and a little about our presents. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before the kitchen door swung open once more, Jax's co-worker shuffling in and looking quite haggard. Jax, the girls out here are about to start a bar brawl if you don't come back out. They say you're the only one who knows how to slice a mango, with the sexy. Both of us snickered before turning back to each other. Give me a second to clean up. Tell them I'm grabbing all the melons they could want. The bartender nodded and smiled in relief before heading back out to the main room. The two of us took time to clean up and chat a little bit more. Once we finished with the dishes, Jax turned to me with a resigned smile. Well, it seems my public awaits. Sorry to cut the date so short. The downside of being a working stiff these days. It's alright, not like the ample free time from unemployment is doing me much good. I'm glad we got some more time together. It's flattering, really, considering how in demand you seem to be. Wouldn't have it any other way. I'm a total attention whore. I couldn't help but chuckle. It was comforting to see the confident, sharp-dressed guy who'd served me my first drink again. He always looked best at his bluest. That's kind of cute, actually. I expect a third date, you know. Maybe a third and a half date, considering this one wasn't nearly as much fun as our first. I'll try to make it a little more interesting than the back of kitchen at your work. Next time I'll bring muffins and fireworks. Just know that's setting the bar pretty high. He winked at me and took a step back as if to leave. I could feel the pull, the attraction of a moment that lingered between us, like there was more to say or do. Maybe it was just me wanting more time with him. Okay, let's do it. Stop him and kiss. Before he could walk away, I placed a hand gently on his shoulder. Once he turned, I leaned in close and pressed my lips firmly against his. He immediately melted into the kiss, his eyes fluttering shut as he pressed his body close to mine. The two of us held that moment for as long as we could, tongues touching as our hands clutched each other tightly. Reluctantly, I pulled away and stroked his cheek softly. You can expect better than that on our next date. Wow, I didn't think I could look forward to it more than I already did. He coughed lightly and adjusted himself, his skimpy briefs tight. He kissed me gently on the cheek and strode back out into the club. Good night, handsome. Standing there, pulse pounding in that darkened kitchen, I felt more comfortable and confident than I had in a while. I ducked out the back door to avoid the crowds and made my way back to the car. Now, I knew the feeling was mutual, and the third date was going to be something monumental. At least, that was my intention. Now I just had to deal with Kobe badgering me for more details. It was kind of fun being the one with something to talk about instead of him, and the story of a kiss like that one had to be shared. Alright, that is our second date with Jax. I would say that went over pretty well, and yeah, okay, thank you. I'm so bad at these outros, but thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time. Have a good day, and bye.